So the first card you have your past is the Five of Wands. Yeah, I always see this as the mess card, the messy card. Yeah, not that you were a mess at this time, but you were very, very busy. You're busy trying to rush around. I see you trying to run around doing all sorts of different things, but maybe not wanting to ask for help or not letting anyone help you or something like that. It was like you felt that you wanted to do everything by yourself. And I think maybe you didn't trust some people around you to actually be able to do what you needed them to do, or what you had to do. It was like maybe you were worried that they would do something wrong, or they'd lose things, or not do what you wanted. And because nobody in this card looks as if they know what they're doing, obviously, they look like a great big mess. It could have been that, taking the time to show other people what to do and how to do things might have actually taken a lot longer than actually doing it yourself. That's the dilemma I have too, quite often, that they wouldn't do it in the way that you wanted, they wouldn't understand what you meant, and it would take a long time to show them, and then you'd have to check the result, and then you'd have to do it all again if it was wrong, and then you'd have to show them again, and they'd get it wrong again, all of that kind of stuff. And you kind of couldn't get your head around, you didn't have the time to kind of just even think about that. So I think you knew the concept of motorbikes going. I don't live near the Hells Angels. A lot of people asked me that because there's always motorbikes in my readings. I don't mean that to happen. I don't know why they come past here. Yes. So yeah, you didn't want to kind of waste your time telling people how to do things to get them to help you, but also I think you do also have a kind of a deep-seated thing where you don't like to ask for help. You kind of run around doing everything yourself. But training people or teaching them how to do things would have been better for you in the long run, and I think you know that, but I think you just had so many things to do in the short term that you just couldn't see past them. It's like there were 20 things in the path in front of you that had to be done before you could get to the next 20 things. And you just couldn't see past the 20 things in front of you. But if this resonates and you're still going through this, I hope you're not still going through this, but training people or teaching them how to do things might take up your time now, but it might eliminate the next 20 things altogether down your path. And I think you know this, of course. It just wasn't easy for you to do. And I can understand that when you're running around putting out fires, fixing things, you have a list, you cross one thing off and then 20 more things go on. You can't think about stopping to teach people, to show them how to do things. It's very difficult. It's always a big dilemma. And I've had that myself. The next card you have for your past is the Nine of Pentacles. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So, if you hadn't gotten through this stress already, you will soon, definitely. I mean, this card is the opposite of the one above it. I think, you are going to be rewarded for all of this hard work that you've been putting in, but I think the rewards are probably going to take a bit longer to come in than you'd like, because, you probably can't see it on camera. I'll move this down so you can see. There's a little snail right at the bottom of this card, so obviously a snail indicates things happening slowly. The snail gets there when it gets there. It's not in a rush. It has no deadline. So that's what I'm seeing with that. But I think, I'm seeing that even with all of this stress, I'll just move that up again. Even with all of this stress, whether this was all over or not, I think, you came to a place where whatever you had around you was finally yours, and you were grateful for what you had. It could be that you were running around in the workplace like crazy, and then when you got home, you're in your home and you're thinking, what I have's mine, and I'm so content. I'm happy in my place. I finally have this, and this is mine, and I'm grateful for this. I think there might have been someone from your past who did try to take things from you. Maybe they tried to take what was yours or something like that. But at this time, nobody could take what you had. Nobody could take anything from you. What you had was yours. It was a really good feeling. It was like you'd built up this little safe haven around yourself. That's what I'm seeing. So the last card you have, your past, is the Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, more pentacles. You obviously had a lot of work, money, things like that going around in your head at this time, and a lot of thoughts around these things. And yes, again, I'm seeing someone took from you. Someone from a past relationship took from you, or they ended up with more than they should have. Yeah, again, I'm seeing this happened in the past. Someone was very unfair to you. But this is following on from the Nine of Pentacles, because you were kind of comparing how you are now, or how you were at this time, with the time that you were, the time you had when you were around this person, I'm trying to say. So you were looking back at what you'd built for yourself since that time. And it's actually a lot, whether it feels like it or not. It might be a small apartment you have, it might be a tiny room you have, but it's yours, and it's your safety net, it's your shelter. Everything that you have is yours, and that's beautiful. Nobody can ever take that away. And yeah, also, it might not even be about material things. I think it partly is. But I know these are coins, but abundance isn't only about money. It's your peace of mind and your confidence that really, really grew and multiplied on itself, like these coins on this tree. After you left this person, or after you got away from this person, that's when things started to happen for you, and you felt a lot better in yourself. So you could cope with all of this stress that was going on in the Five of Wands, because when you got home, you knew that whatever you had was yours, and you were content, and you could just relax. You didn't have the stress of having this person around you. That's what I'm seeing. The first card you have for your present is the Eight of Swords. So yeah, I'm seeing a kind of a battle between emotions and reality, or a kind of emotion and being down to earth, something like that. There's both water and earth in front of this woman in this card. There's some water and there's some earth, and when they're mixed up, they turn into mud. So she has a lot of mud in front of her, and I'll move that again so you can see. So there's all this mud in front of her, and it's kind of, there's a bit of water, there's a bit of earth, and it's all mixed up into mud. So obviously this woman, she could try to step forward. She has a blindfold on, but she could try to walk forward, but she'd be stuck in the mud if she did. This is probably going to sound a little bit confusing. I'll try to make it as clear as I can. There's someone who you could have been close to, very, very close to. It's not this person in the Seven of Pentacles. It's not this ex. This is another person. You're very close to them. You have been close to them in your past. Very, very close to this person. But there was a lot of hurt going on between you. Some hurtful words were said. I'm actually seeing arguments or disagreements where things were said on both sides. So you both could be going through something very similar emotionally, if that makes sense. Similar hurt. You're both feeling a kind of a similar hurt. Both of you would probably like to come forward. You'd probably like to come forward and speak. But so much has been done and said between that time, between what first started all of this and now, that the waters are really muddied. Nobody knows how to move forward, or even if they should move forward. And if this resonates, it might still be a little bit early for either of you to actually talk about things. I'm seeing things are probably still a bit raw between you. I don't think either of you are really seeing things that clearly. Everything's muddied. So maybe take some time out until this mud starts to clear, and take some time out until your hearts and your minds are both a lot clearer. It's just not right yet. You might have to speak to them. You might have to say to them, look, I'd like to talk about this at some time. I can't right now, and I don't think you should either. Let's wait. So the next card you have for your present is the Lovers. Yes, this card can be about love. It can be about decisions as well. Feeling unsure, not knowing which decision to make, wanting to make the right decision, not knowing what that is. So obviously this is the Garden of Eden in this card, where Eve was supposed to have made a difficult decision. She had a hard decision to make, whether to eat the apple, and supposedly she made the wrong decision, which is what happened in the story. So You could be worried that if you talk to this person, it might be the wrong decision. I think part of you is thinking, I want to talk to them, I want to open up to them, I want to start this again, I want to get some kind of closure, for want of a better word, so that we both feel better. But should I do this or should I not do this? And you might be kind of thinking, if I do start opening up, if I do start talking to them again, there's going to be a whole lot of hurt and blame and anger, and everything's going to start all over again. I think what you're thinking at this time is a kind of a now or never thing. I need to talk to them now. I need to get this resolved. If I don't now, I'll never speak to them again. It'll be a disaster, terrible. Try not to think in that kind of extreme thinking, right, wrong thinking. You don't have to think in that way. It's not now or never. I can see that neither of you truly want to let go of this, so you are probably going to come back together anyway. I think it's probably inevitable. And yeah, even though there's a lot of hurt, I think neither of you really want to totally let go of this. But regardless of who's right or wrong, I think you both still feel that, and that's probably why you're so hurt. I think, if you were kind of just mad at each other and didn't care about what each other thought and care about each other's feelings and care about all of this hurt, you would just walk off and not worry about it. But obviously you both still really care about this. So again, if this resonates, you might just want to tell them that, you just want to cool off for a while, you just want to calm down for a while until everyone feels more balanced. Because it doesn't mean that you have to never see them ever again, and you need to kind of stress that to them as well, because they might be worrying about the same thing. You might have to just say to them, look, I want to come and talk to you at some time. I think it would be good for us to talk at some time, but at this time, everything's still raw. We're both still upset. We both have a lot on our minds. And, I really think we both need just some time to ourselves, just to clear our minds until we're both ready to come back together again and we both have a clear head. Something, you might want to say something like that to them. That's just an idea. I don't know. You probably don't want to say what I tell you. The last card you have for your present is the Two of Swords. So, whether you take this break or not, I think that you should take this break. When you come back together again to talk properly, and I'm seeing that you will do that, you will have a proper talk at some time, you're both going to have to try to see each other's point of view. Try and get back to the core of what first started all of this argument. Because sometimes when we have these arguments and harsh words are said and we're going backwards and forwards, it's kind of like, oh, he said this, so I'll get him back and I'll say that. And they said, I'm a this, so I'll get them back and I'll say that. And then they said this, oh, how dare they say that? I'm so upset, I'm so angry. Right, I'll do that to them. And it kind of escalates, and everyone kind of forgets what was at the core of all of this. There was obviously something that was a big misunderstanding or some big thing that's at the core of all of this. So I think what you're going to have to do, because these words can sometimes be a mask hiding what's really beneath all of this. It might be that, for example, someone takes someone's food and they don't take my food and they get all upset, and the other person says, well, what are you upset about? I just took a little bit of food off your plate. Well, it's not a big deal. No. Maybe that person was hungry in their past. You don't know. So there might be something deep down that is at the core of all of these arguments, and you might not be getting to that core because you're kind of too busy one-upping each other, getting back to them and saying, oh, you said this, I said that, and all of that kind of thing. So I think, what you need to do is take some time out, first of all, and then decide on getting back together and having a talk when you both feel 100% better about it. Not when one of you does, not when the other one does. When both of you feel better, 100% better about it. Go somewhere, be perfectly calm. Don't talk about, you said this, I said this, you said this. Try to get back to what is at the core of all of this. And I think that's the only way you're going to have to move forward or be able to move forward. That's what I'm seeing. So the first card you have for your future is the Seven of Swords. Yes, the sneaky card. There are a lot of swords in this reading. This is actually quite a difficult reading. I'm actually seeing in this card questions. Someone's asking you questions. Now, they might appear to be innocent questions. They might be just asking questions. But I'm getting a sense that someone could be investigating something with these questions. They might be trying to kind of mine for information about you or something like that, without you realizing it. So obviously there's nothing wrong with asking questions. If you want to ask an innocent question, a straightforward question, if I don't understand something and I say, oh, could you just tell me why you did that? I'm not sure why that is, because I just want to understand that. Or if you've done, or you've said something and they say, oh, I don't understand what that means, can you explain that? These are innocent questions. And they're questions, they're straightforward questions. But then there are other kinds of questions which are like, they look like they're innocent questions, but they're actually asked to find things out in a kind of an underhand way. Sometimes people can ask goading questions as well, questions that try and get you upset. But I think this kind of questioning is all about finding things out. I'm actually seeing that this could be around the workplace. And I'm seeing there was something you participated in, a project or something like that, where someone tried to maybe stop things from happening or stop your ideas from going ahead in a kind of an underhanded way. And I think this is this person in the Seven of Swords. This is them. And I think, I think they were pretending that they were, their thoughts coincided with the interests of the business or the company or whatever that was, but actually their thoughts were with themselves. Their only interests were with themselves. Now, everyone has their self-interests. Everyone does. Nobody is 100% selfless, and there's nothing wrong with thinking of your own interests. But it's when others are brought down at the expense of yourself and your own interests, that's when problems happen. That's when it's not right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking out for yourself if you're still kind of thinking about the other people around you and it's all straightforward and there's nothing sneaky going on. But I think there was a lot of sneakiness going on with this person. Now, if this resonates, and you're getting these kinds of questions, if someone's asking you questions and you have a kind of a bad feeling about it, and you can't work out why, but you feel kind of bad about it, or you have a funny feeling, or you go away from the conversation feeling bad about yourself or bad about something, that's why. There's something underhand going on. So yes, follow your instincts. Don't answer this person's questions. If they kind of want to ask you lots of questions, you might want to be vague to them. They might say, oh, so on that day when you did that project, did you do that? Or did you do this? And why? Why did you do that? Was that because you wanted to do this instead? Or something, whatever. I'm just making something up. You might just say something like, I can't quite remember. I don't know what happened. Don't answer them. You don't have to be rude and say, I'm not telling you. But, just because this is in the workplace, so you might have to just be careful and say, oh, I can't remember what happened then. I don't know. I'll have to go and look it up, but I don't know. I don't have time really. I'm quite busy, but I don't know. Or they might ask you something else and you might just say, well, I'm not sure right now. Just give them a vague answer. And because I've got a feeling that if you tell them information about yourself, they might actually use it against you. And for them, that's what I'm seeing. They're a very sneaky person. You might know who this is. The next card you have for your future is the Nine of Cups. Yes, so you probably know who this person is. I'm seeing that again. You probably know what they're all about. This is quite an insecure person, and they're more interested in putting up a front than and putting people down than actually building themselves up in the right way. There's a wrong way to build yourself up. That's at the expense of other people. There's a right way to build yourself up. That means working hard, doing the right thing, all of that. We know that. That's not what they're doing. So I think you can see right through this person. There's a kind of a curtain behind this man and he's hiding something behind it. In this card, we can't see what's behind it. you can see right through this man, you can see right through the curtain, you can see what's behind it, you know what they're trying to do. So I think that you're probably not going to say anything to this person, you're just going to let them go. And the other thing I'm seeing in this card is that you're not the only one that this person has acted this way toward. I think you know that. So it's not you, you're not alone. Just remember that. The last card you have, your future, is the Queen of Cups. So I think this whole argument, this falling out or whatever this was, I think this is really hurting this person in the Eight of Swords a lot more than you know. I think they still want to come and talk to you. They want to clear the air. They want to fix things up. They want to put things right. And I think they might actually come back to you at this time to talk to you. Only talk to them if you're 100% comfortable and ready with it. And I don't think you will be by this time. And I also don't think they are. If they're coming to you to put things right and to clear the air and to make things, they're not ready to talk to you. They have to have a peaceful mind and a peaceful heart, an understanding one. So do you, before you come together and actually have this talk. Otherwise, it will go back into this argument and you'll be back where you started with you said this, he said that, she said that. It's just going to go nowhere. So I think I'm seeing they might come forward to you and they might say, please talk about this. I want to put it right. And you might have to say to them, look, I understand how you feel. I really do. I'd like to have a talk too. I really think we should do that. I still think this is too early for us to do that. I want to wait until we're both 100% ready and comfortable and peaceful before we do that. I'm not saying it to put you off. I'm not saying I don't want to have a talk. I do want to have a talk with you. But we can only do that when we're both really ready to do that. That's the best way. And that might be what you have to say to them.